So where we left off with challenge 3 left us with a bit of an error here. The error, I don't know if we can get it again. Let me reset here just so you can see. We ended up with this tree, it started growing, great. And then it got really spotty. And then there's an error that kind of pops up and it says something about width and the height of our tree. Oh, there it's hiding behind here. It says here, width and height cannot be less than or equal to 0. Always reading the errors, actually a big help. I know a lot of kids don't tend to do that. Okay, and even if we click on that link, it tells us, oh, here's where we end up with a problem. So my suggestion is to be ending our trees when they get too small, okay? So not even when they get to the outside of the screen. We could also add a little bit of something like to stop that, but basically when they get too narrow. Let's actually make our tree stop growing. So let's head into tree draw because that's kind of where we decide on the width of our trees, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to check what this width is before we start drawing new trees. And we're going to create an if statement that will only draw our branches if it's not too small, if the branch isn't too small. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an if statement that says if width divided by 2 is less than or equal to 0, because that is where we just want to get rid of this. Okay, or actually, sorry, I should say the other way around. As long as width divided by 2 is greater than 0, because that's where we still want to draw the trees. Okay, so we're going to say branch to the left and branch to the right. Okay, so we'll do that. And now we always wanted to remove the old drawing object no matter what. So we'll always remove it outside here, but only if the width of the branches is greater than 0 are we going to actually draw out these branches. So I'm going to compile. And let's see. Okay. I'm just going to make sure too, I'm going to try and look for this. I'm going to clear this just so I can make sure we're not getting this error anymore. Okay. And I'm going to run this and see, do we get that same error? And then it draws out and it removes our object and our program's still running. And let's see, is there an error message? Nope, nothing else has popped up, so that's great. Now I want to deal with one other issue. If we decide in the future to make these branches longer, we might end up with a situation that they get stuck at the edge. So what we're going to do is, if these branches end up hitting the edge of the world, we're going to just straight up remove them altogether. Okay, we're going to stop drawing the tree. So what we can actually do is we can say if the width of the branches is greater than 0, okay, then do this, okay? And we're also going to check, we're going to make sure that, I guess, if this isn't touching the edge of the world. So we should have maybe an and we'll say and if is at edge is not equal to true. Okay, another way we can put that is just and if this object is not at the edge. Now let's see if this works. I'm kind of thinking about this and I'm not sure about this. Let's compile and see. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to actually move this a little higher so to see if this actually works. Just so our tree actually runs into the edge of the world, because we got to test properly, make sure we've checked all cases. Ooh, it's still drawing out and it does end somewhere, but not very nicely. So let's fix this. Let's look at our conditions. Now, I think our issue is the fact that it's not checking if it's at the edge until the branch length is its desired length. It's not really what we want. So let's actually move this. We're going to move it outside so that it is always checking if is at edge, we are going to say get world dot remove object this. Okay, and then we're going to have to change this to an else if. Okay, because we only want it to go and check this stuff and remove the object if this isn't true already, because otherwise we're going to end with some weird actor non-world error. We need to make this an else if to make sure that we're not trying to find X or Y or anything like that after this has been removed from the edge. So let's test this again. Move it up. All right, just finished itself off. Perfect. That's kind of what we wanted. So this part concludes the piece that I guess removes things when they're too big, when the tree's too big. So just to add a little bit of commenting in here, if the branch ends up hitting the edge of the world, okay, then stop growing. Okay, and if it is time for the branch to break off, okay, and if the next branch will still be wide enough. Okay, so if the next branch is going to be wide enough, branch to the left and branch to the right. So this is what you should have in the end. All right, not looking very tree-like, looking very symmetrical. We'll change that in the next